Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm Mr. Megawar 31. Apologize, we didn't have many videos last week. Had some family situations come up I had to deal with. With you this week. But today, got a video. Got some great information for you. So let's get into it. Large slate, 11 games. Everybody plays today. There's another four-game slate at 6:45. If you want a good GPP for that, I know Luzardo has been really solid to start the season, but San Francisco has been mashing left-handed pitching, and they touched up Philly pretty bad last night. They used I think it's about three people out of the bullpen, so nothing to completely tanks it, but still stretch it a little bit. So love the right-handed batters there. I'd probably take the top five, skip Lee, and then do a wrap around down there with Fitzgerald. He I think he was a single shy of a cycle yesterday, so he's was a huge prospect last year, got injured, came back this year, and then he's kind of buried at the bottom of the lineup, but I think he still has a lot of potential there. So keep your eye on him. Okay, so first game we have Cleveland and Baltimore. Logan Allen and Charlie Morton. You have the wind blowing out 17 miles per hour at 60-degree temperature. This is great hitting conditions. Baltimore, they moved the wall back a few years ago. Now they moved it forward a little bit, so it should be more of a hitter's park than a pitcher's park. Allen, I'm not touching. Been terrible. Giving up a lot of hard contact. So there's Baltimore's usually better against righties because they have all those power lefties in their lineup, but they've got some really good righties here too. So I think that Gunnar Henderson might not lead off. Sometimes they bury him. Sometimes they give him the day off against a lefty, but the rest of the lineup should be all right-handed. Heavy Rushman switching from he's switch hitter, so it goes to the right-handed side of the plate. Morton on the other side, he's been getting some strikeouts. He's just not as good as he has been. His velocity's getting down there. He's getting a little bit older. He's given up, I think, about 4 runs a game. So, but Cleveland is definitely has some strikeouts in their lineup. They're not up on the top of the board here, but they don't have the plate discipline they have in the past. And taking, I mean, Manzardo has come along really nice, but losing Naylor there was a pretty big hit for them. So we'll have to see how they progress throughout the course of the season. So bat wise, Cleveland, I think you can maybe as in a GPP here with the weather conditions and Morton giving up 4 runs. I think they're stackable. I would probably stay like to the top of like all the lefties there, Quan, Ramirez. Probably skip over Santana and go Manzardo because you know you can put one in first base and DK Jones. So I'd probably put a top four up there and then fill in with non-stock. I wouldn't try to get him a fifth in there. Baltimore, again, I don't know if Gunner's gonna be there. I'd love it if like Laureano is in the lineup at just like 2K and leading off for some reason, or sometimes like they put like Mateo or somebody up there, a righty bat to lead off, and who's like super cheap in like the 2K range. So that would be awesome. And then Addy, he might lead off too. Westberg, O'Neill, Mountcastle. Again, I hope Laureano's in there. Like it gives you a lot of savings there. Or if you want to put Gary Sanchez in there, he's been better this season. Like he's playing sparingly as kind of like a DH against left-handed, but still, I think there's a little bit of tread left on the tire there, and he's only 2-2, so a lot of ways to go there. Next game, we have Boston and Tampa Bay. Wow. Tampa Bay, it looked like the Buccaneers out there. They're up like 2 touchdowns and a field goal on Boston at like one point there. I thought we were watching like preseason football game. But yeah, this Tampa Bay Park is not where they used to play. It is more of a hitter-friendly park. This team is really starting to come together, has some power, and it's hitting well and it's playing well. And they get Walker Bueller, who is just not who he was when he was with the Dodgers and up there and in the top of their rotation. And he's definitely very hittable and someone that I think they could take advantage of. And the Boston bullpen, again, got taxed last night. They used, I think, about 4 guys out of there. And even the commentators are saying, like, why are they pulling arms out of the bullpen? Why are they not throwing position players out here in the eighth and the ninth? There's no way they're going to overcome this deficit. They were down like double digits, but they used their not their best arms, but still like parts of the bullpen, so that taxes it a little bit. So if Bueller gets in trouble, like what do they do? Are they just going to hemorrhage more runs, which is possible? Abiyat has been decent to start the season. He really struggled against left-handers last year, and I think he's made a couple changes with his pitch selection and stuff with them to be a little bit more effective. So there are some definitely some lefties to be, and I think people are going to be like Boston completely let us down, but I think it's a spot you can go back to him. I'll play a little bit of Pepe out if I'm looking for a cheap pitcher in the 7K range. I'm fine with that. Um, because I think he'll get the run support to be able to win, and I think he can stay out there long enough to get the quality start. We'll have to see on that. It's still a little bit early in the season for everybody to be completely stretched out, but I think more and more as they get into like their third and fourth and fifth starts, getting good there. And Tampa Bay bullpen was pretty good last night, so it's got they should be well rested behind him. Bat wise, Boston, again, I think you can go back to this as a top GPP stack. I think it's going to be low owned and people are going to sleep on it because they didn't do it well. Duran, Devers, I'm fine with. Bregman, if right A is okay. Breu's moved up a little bit in the lineup too. Cassis has moved down a little bit because Breu's been like a hotter hitter. Campbell's been solid too, hitting everybody. Like I like if Sabo's in there as the catcher, like he was a up and coming prospect for San Francisco a couple of years ago, and I think at 2-3 makes a decent like wraparound. So I'd stick to the lefties here, but Campbell's fine. So if you wanted to go like 7, 8, skip 9. 1, 2, then I'm fine with that too. Or even if you leave Campbell out and go like 8, 1, 2, 4, then however you want to build it. But I'm stacking Boston. That's how I play that. Tampa Bay, I think they're definitely in play here again as one of my favorite cheaper stacks. Like your most expensive one is low here at 4-8, and I prefer Aranda over Diaz, even though Diaz had a good game last night. $100, like I usually take the split advantage and matches up better with some of the outfielders that are deeper down here. Magnum at the bottom of the order has been hitting really well. It's a switch hitter. Masoner hit 2 home runs last night at 3-4. Like there's a great price for a guy with power. Morale's been solid. Like this whole lineup besides Walls. But I mean, if you need a punt shortstop in it, like I think that he's fine there too. I know they have some prospects below him, so he better get his act together because they could bring them back up to. I don't think Wander Franco's ever come back. I think that was we'll have to see how that legal thing plays out. But sad story there. But Tampa Bay, like Walls, had a lot of potential, and he just keeps on kind of falling down to the bottom of the lineup. So, but again, I think as a punt in the stack, it makes some sense, especially as a switch hitter there. Next up, a little bit of rain in New York City, but the wind blowing out at 19 miles per hour makes this an awesome hitting spot again, too. You have Mike Waka and Max Fried. Waka, I'm not touching in this conditions here against these Yankees. Bat Fried on the other side, I think he'll be fine. He's just been super solid. That's why they went out and signed him in free agency. They needed somebody to come in, and they thought he'd be like the number two behind Cole, but he's almost rising up to the number one because Cole's out for the season. So hopefully he stays healthy, and he's been solid to start the season. So I think there's some this Kansas City team hasn't been like super solid. Like they're bottom 10 in strikeouts, but the bottom of the lineup, there are definitely strikeouts there. Like India's been solid and Witt's been solid. Pascatino's been okay, but it's a lefty on lefty there. And Salvador Perez really hasn't got it going. Renfroe has been a lefty killer, but not as much recently. Maybe with the wind and everything, he might be a sneaky one-off there to take a shot on a GPP at 2-8. But the rest of the bottom of this lineup and Massey, McCarr, Sears, Walter, and Furman, I'm really not super stoked or threatened by, I feel. Uh, Yankees, Rice leading off here, that was a great decision. Like he struggled a lot during spring training and a little bit last year. I thought like, okay, he's going to be another like or some of the other ones that they just didn't work out and get sent down and just kind of a disappointment. But he has been a great person here. He's hit some power, he's contact, he can steal some bases there. So he's become, I don't think he's going to be a table setter for like a full season, but it's working for now. So I think, Boone's going to stick with it. Judge was a little disappointing yesterday. He got a single or a double, but he didn't wasn't part of the home run parade. It's all the lefties. Bellinger had the day off, but this is another, and he's been struggling a little bit to start the season. But this is a great get right spot for him here against right-handed pitcher and the wind blowing out at 19 miles per hour is perfect. It's straight away center, almost a little bit to right field, so that's definitely what you're looking for there. Goldschmidt, I leave him out of the stacks. I always play Rice over him. He's been hitting okay for average, but like he just hasn't had like the power and stuff. Like if it was left-handed pitcher, I consider him, but Rice is such a better play there. Especially at the top of the lineup, has the potential to see like maybe one more at bat as if they turn over the lineup more than the fourth place hitter. Jazz, solid play here. Volpe has been better with his torpedo bat this season. Wells, solid also down here as catcher. Dominguez, did he have home run last night? I can't remember. I think he's hit pretty well recently. Or if Grissom's in the lineup too, he's been like white hot. Yeah, he cooled off for he had like a really good streak, had a couple donuts in a row there, and then came back and had a home run again last night. So he has a weird like stance. It kind of chokes up in the bat, but it's been effective. So we'll stay with that. And then Cabrera had a couple hits last night too. So at the bottom for a cheap wraparound switch hitter, that's fine too. Atlanta, the Blue Jays. Wallenbacher is in a great spot here. Again, you like right-handed pitching against the Blue Jays because they're so right-handed heavy. Besides like Santander, the switch hitter, and Jimenez, I mean they'll throw like Wagners and Lukes and Rodin out there to try to get some more lefties in there, but they just don't have the power. The righties don't hit home runs as much against right-handed pitching, so I think Swellenbacher is expensive, but I don't necessarily know if I want to pay up for him in cash, but I think he's definitely solid in play. The reason I dropped him down to four is just the pricing on him. I think the matchup's fine. I think there's a lot of upside here, but in cash, I'd rather think I'd take Florida Brown or Freed. Gossman on the other side against Atlanta. I mean, this Atlanta offense is really struggling. Last night they came live, but it was against a left-handed pitcher that was due for some negative regression, and we saw it last night and in the GPPs at FSi. Like we had it all over Atlanta, especially Sean Murphy, who has only been back for 4 or 5 games and has like 4 home runs already. So, um, especially against left-handed pitcher, that was just great. But Ozuna is probably going to be out for the whole series. So that's like another bat out of the lineup. So I think Gossman's in play here. He's not one of my favorite ones. I'd rather play some of the other ones in the mid range here, especially because he's the top of the mid range, almost at the breaking point of like where we pay up for like the high range. So if you're doing mass multi-entering, I think he's fine. But other than that, I'm probably not going to be playing him much today. Atlanta and Toronto, I think these are both just because the Toronto pitcher is so good. I think they're like 150 max stack or fade things. Like again, I wouldn't even take Murphy as a one-off here. Like there's much cheaper catchers in better situations today, and he's not against the left-handed pitcher. Could he hit another home run? Yeah, it's entirely possible. He seems to be seeing the ball well, but I just don't think it's worth playing there. And like you're really like Harris will probably lead off. Riley's been okay. Olson, lefty, Albies like he could make a stack up here for Atlanta, but again, I think it's like 150 max. I don't think it's anything. And then like the Blue Jays, there's really nothing that I really like too much there against a decent pitcher. Athletics and the White Sox. Now the wind is really blowing out here too. 50 degrees, so it's not freezing cold in Chicago anymore. And wind blowing out 17 miles per hour, it definitely is going to be an awesome hitting environment. Springs has been okay to start the season, and the White Sox are the White Sox, so I think he's definitely a play in the medium range at 8-2. And I think he'll have some ownership, but with the wind and everything, it's a little bit concerning. And there is some potential power here, and some of those like loud outs that you usually see with the White Sox could turn into home runs here with that wind blowing out so strongly. Burke on the other side, I think you got to leave in play. Also, if you want to like a really, really cheap punt here, the Athletics have not been striking out that much. The bottom lineup has, but the top of the lineup has been decent and almost like bottom five in baseball, which is amazing compared to like when Elier Ruiz was up there and like striking all the time and some of the other ones that they previously had in the lineup. So this Oakland team's really starting to come together, and I think they're really growing into themselves. By the time they get to Las Vegas, they might be a team that's like a solid contender, kind of like Houston came up a couple years ago and Kansas City did for that brief period. I mean, they're still there. They haven't like regressed back to how they were. Baltimore, Detroit last year, like so, it's kind of exciting to see what the future of the Athletics is going to be. That being said, I think that there can be one of the top stacks here, especially with the wind, especially against a young pitcher in Burke here. So give me Butler. I'm going to skip over Rooker, uh, Rooker, however you say his last name. He's just not been hot at 5'4". I can't do that against a right-handed pitcher. Tonight he probably hits 3 home runs. But I'd rather take like Butler, Soderstrom, Langoliers, Blade, and just kind of leave it there. Take the four-man stack. It's getting kind of pricey there with a 4-8, a 4-8, a 4-3, and a 4. So it's not like they're super, super cheap. And then just leave the rest of it and fill in with other players from other teams. White Sox on the other side, Vargas over from the Dodgers. He's got some power leading off there at 2-9 against Springs. Matt and I wouldn't play lefty lefty. I don't know if he'll be hitting in the two spot. Roberts, Vaughn. This is a place where you kind of miss like Berger being in the lineup as a righty. I don't. It's hard to even recognize some of the other names like Michael A. Taylor's more of like a speed guy, the bottom of the lineup. But there's really not the rest. It's almost like a triple A team up here, until these guys start making some noise and making and even a catcher, like you'll have to see who plays with that. Is the lefty there too. So I don't think there's a ton of White Sox to play, but if you need some cheap fill-ins there, like if you're punting third base at 2-9, that's not bad there. If you have an outfield spot open, that's 3-1. I don't think you can really afford to punt first base because there's so many good plays there. Next up, we have the Mets and the Minnesota Twins. Wind blowing out here, 210 miles per hour. Not as significant in the Twins park, but it helps a little bit. Miguel is such a solid play here at 7-9. Probably going to be my cast as SP2. I just think it's a solid matchup here. Minnesota has some strikeouts in the lineup, definitely. And I think he's just been so strong to start the season. Ober on the other side, I don't know, 6-7 is a fair price for him. I think in the cheap range you can keep him for mass multi-entering, but this Mets lineup, their total seems way too low at 4.1. I really think that they can get out there. I know that Minnesota has like a top 10 bullpen, but barely, like they're right on the cusp of it. But I think they can definitely get to Ober and like Lindor, Soto. I know they're a little bit disappointing yesterday. They got off to a slow start there. But if you want to play some Mets here in a GPP, I get it. The top four of the lineup definitely in play here. Even like Acuna on the bottom, I think he hasn't played that much, but I think in the last 4 games, it's something like he's 6 for 14 with stolen bases, and he's scoring runs. So he's getting on, and he's like that. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's hitting for contact. He's getting on. He's stealing bases. He's helping to leave first base open. So when these top batters, they sometimes they pitch around them and put them on, and then the ones lower in the lineup are like second, third, fourth are hitting them, and it's working out really well. Minnesota, really not super interested in here. GPP stack, if anything. Detroit and the Brewers, Flaherty against Dodger or Boston cast-off Quinn Priester. Flaherty, I think, is solid. He's my favorite SP1 on the lineup here, 9K. You're saving a little bit coming down from Schwellenbach and Fried. Get you some more bats in. Milwaukee is worse against left-handed pitching, but they have a lot of potential in this lineup here, and especially playing at home. But I think Flaherty has just been so solid that he'll have a decent game here. The middle of the road for K matchup, but Flaherty can manufacture some on his own. Feature on the other side, not touching this. Detroit, he's behind Tampa Bay is my favorite cheap stack. Going back there, went there yesterday, did really well. And others, some of the bats let us down, but I think it's a solid spot to go back to. So Flaherty, Love, Priester not playing. Detroit, if you want to skip over Torres, that's fine, righty on righty here. But Carpenter, Green, Torkelson, less down a little bit yesterday. If you got a better option at first base, I'm fine with that. Keith, throw him in there. McKinstry, if you need to. Dingler has been a very solid catcher, hitting very well. Here, I know it's righty on righty, but I think he'll be fine there. And I'm probably not playing Sweeney and definitely not Baez. He's like dusty there. He's still a good defensive guy, but offensively, his better days have passed, definitely. Milwaukee definitely makes a great leverage contrarian stack here. The usual suspects: Train, Curio, Yelich, Fralick, maybe Mitchell, maybe Dunn as a wraparound if you want to. I don't know if I'd necessarily pay all the way up for Contreras or Hoskins or Ortiz in this matchup, righty on righty. Houston and St. Louis, Hunter Brown and Fetty. Hunter Brown has a solid matchup here against St. Louis. I know they only have a 20% strikeout rate, but the wind's blowing out here too, so that definitely helps making this a better hitting situation. It's 60 degrees, so it's not like 80 degrees there. When it's really hot and the wind's blowing out, then it definitely becomes more of a hitter's park. So it helps, but I think Brown's solid enough here with some upside at 10K. Um, Fetty on the other side, I'm not really going to touch, even though Houston has not been good. Neither has Fetty, so he's going to stay in the 150 max category. Houston GPP stack for me. I wouldn't take any one-offs here. And St. Louis, I think Brown will have some ownership, so it'd be a contrarian stack. Donovan, I think, has like a 10-game hitting streak. So if you want to take him as a one-off, he's been kind of hot and has a split advantage. But other than that, I know they put up some runs yesterday unexpectedly. And Valdez, like, I know he was one of my pitchers in cash. I was so excited with my stack with Detroit. I made it able to pay up for two decent pitchers, and he just did not work out. So it happens. Baseball. That's why, if once you think you know what's going to happen, it's not necessarily going to happen. But there's a lot of things that do break the correct way as you study it and trends and stuff. But then you just have those sometimes those outlier things that are just like kind of a little bit surprising. Next up, we have the Angels and the Rangers, Kikuchi and Male. Kikuchi, I think, is in play here. Like this Texas team doesn't seem to have like the punch that they did before. They've gotten really cheap. Like Semien used to be like a 5K player. He's 4.8. Seager used to be a five, almost 6K player. He's 4.7. Jung like came up a couple years ago and was like on fire and like another 5K player, and then he got hurt. Garcia, 4.5. Berger. He was the one I said like I used to love when he was on the White Sox and playing against left-handed pitching. He gets that opportunity here. Higashioka. I used to call him Higgy. He was the catcher on the Yankees for a while. Used to mash left-handed pitching. Won me so much money, thousands of dollars in spring training slates when I used to play him against lefties. And then went to San Diego last year. Now he's on Texas. So there's a lot of potential here against Kikuchi, and I kind of like them as like a sneaky um cheap stack here. But I think you can play Kikuchi a little bit. Texas is bottom, they're still 22.3% K rate. So but they have like the splits advantage besides Seager against him. So Kikuchi, I think, is in play here in the medium range, but more probably for GPPs than cash. Molly, I'm not touching. Angels, I think you can play both sides of the plate against Molly here. He's given up hard contact, so I think that they are definitely a nice and this might be a great stackable game. Like take all the bats you can in this game or stack both sides. So the total's high at 8.5. It's inside. The pitchers are marginal to bad, and bullpens are well, the Angels have the second worst. Texas is somewhere in the middle. So there's a lot of green lights here to take some bats and make some fun stacks and GPPs. Cubs and Padres, Imaniana and Vasquez. Imaniana, I like him here. He's matched up well against the Padres in the past. So, but I mean, the Tatis has been hitting really well recently. Machado, it looks like Oscar Gonzalez might be in like the five hole. Like they're missing Cronenworth, they're missing Merrill, but they'd be like left-handed bats, lefty on lefty anyways if they were in there. I'm pretty sure. So Connor Joe might even make the lineup. I don't even think he's in the DK player pool. Diaz from the Rockies. So if you get through the top of the order, I think Imaniana is going to be fine. He's going to be in the low end of the top guys. I think if you want to, with how well Chicago's been hitting recently, and with how bad Vasquez has been on the other side. who's a fade, not playing him. He's probably the worst pitcher on the slate here. I think the Cubs definitely are going to be able to get the run support for him in Yana. But again, he is facing a really good top four of the lineup here. At least the top three are like really solid. So will there be damage? Possibly. Will there be strikeouts? Probably the bottom of the lineup here. So I'll let you decide. I think he's a GPP pitcher, but I think I'll have a little bit of exposure to him. Vasquez not touching. Love the Cubs here as if the Dodgers and Yankees obviously are always the most elite stacks with the talent and their matchup and the weather, especially in New York and the Dodgers playing the Cubs, they got to be up there at the top of the tier. Baltimore, like I said, I love the righties against a pitcher that's been struggling and the wind blowing out there, good hitting conditions. And Chicago is solidly the fourth one here. And Cap's been good up there. Tucker, it gets a righty here. So good. Turner, I don't know if I play righty and righty there, but Bush has been hot, hot, hot. Been hitting the ball so well. So definitely like him. And then you'll have to decide. Like sometimes I like just skipping like Swanson and Horner and going with Croy Anderson. So I'll go Hap, Tucker, Bush, Croy Anderson. I don't know. I don't know if I can get to five here in the stack. Although Horner has really been stealing bases, so maybe throw him in there. Swanson hasn't been hitting bad, so I think besides Turner, like pick your five out of 1 through 7, and that's where I want to go with my club stack. San Diego on the other side, I think would just be a contrarian leverage stack here. Tatis, Areza is a good contact hitter. Machado, Bogarts. I mean, they eat up a lot of salary, especially at Tatis at 6'2", and Machado. Like, if I'm paying that much up, like, why don't I just get a couple hundred more dollars for two bit and play Otani and Betts, or play like I'd probably get three Yankees for like that much salary, like Judge and uh and two others, like because like Wells and well, maybe Jazz would probably be about the same equivalent. So I just think there's much better spots there, is what I'm trying to say here. So San Diego, unless you're playing like the late slate, I just think they're going to leave them and trying to do something contrarian, you're going to leave them on the table. Rockies, Feltner, hell no. Landon Knack, wasn't supposed to be a starter, but with like injuries and stuff, and the Dodgers rotation kind of gets with Snell out and I kind of get Kershaw not ready yet. Kind of gets pushed forward there. Doesn't go super deep, but it's the Rockies. He should be able to get. They're the number one strikeout team in, and their WOBA is like so low. Like they are not hitting really well. They are almost like a AAA team in Major League Baseball, which is it's sad because there is some talent on this team still, but they are far, far away from, being where they need to be. When the most expensive guy on DK is Tovar, who is the future like superstar if you get him on another team, probably. At 3-4, everybody else is in the 2K range. Like Colorado is free. Like almost literally 2K, 2-3, 2-1, 2-9, 3-1. Um, Amador is not even in the DK pool. It's crazy. Martini's moved up to the second spot. This is not the team that we've had in the past up there with like the Blackmans, with when Tularullo was there, with some of the other ones that had been all there, like the when it was like a feared lineup, especially when they're in Coors Field. It's just not there. And they're not even Coors, they're in the Dodger Stadium. So, anyways, not playing any Rockies, even though they're free. I mean, if you want to take a one off here just in case because they're free, but again, I'd rather take a White Sox in a really good like hitting situation there with this probably the splits advantage against a pitcher that they might be able to get hit off of. Not saying that Knack is Nolan Ryan by any means or Cy Young, but I think he's going to have a solid and in the cheap range here at 7K, I really like him as a solid SP2. Dodgers bats, you know the drill. Otani bats both had home runs last night. Freeman had Vasco Hernandez had the night off. He'll probably be back. And Forto's been solid. Will Smith is good. Edmonds switch hitter. Muncy at the bottom lineup. Like you can always do like a wraparound to save you some money and do like Edmonds, Muncy, Pagas, Otani bets, or however you skip Edmonds and just do Muncy, Pagas, Otani bets, Freeman. Like there's so many ways to stack this team. Try to get some exposure. They have a 5.63 total, highest on the slate by far. The Yankees are the second highest, and I don't even think they scraped five tonight. They're right at five. So, that's what we got. So 11 game slate. We talked about a lot of stuff. Let's look at some lineup builds and get you on your way for your day. There's so many ways to go. These are just a couple suggestions for you. So I'm going to take Flaherty and McGill. If you want to take another SP1, that's fine. McGill, I think, is solid SP2. If you want to go McGill and Knack, I think that might work out. Like, I think you need some K upside on the top side, looking at like a Freed or a Schwellenbach or a Brown or Flaherty. Flaherty's where I'm going to go, like price wise at 9K. I think that's the sweet spot for to get me enough points and to give me enough value there. McGill, I think, is a super matchup there. And then give me the Yankees. So Wells or Dingler. If I need to save a little bit money there from Detroit, he's fine. Rice, Torres, I'll let you pick who you want for third base and shortstop. If you want to take a one off for either of those positions to get like a Judge down there or to get up to Bellinger or somebody in the outfield there, I'll leave it up to you. But if you want to go cheaper and balance, like Dominguez has been fine. Grissom, if he's in there, is fine. Cabrera at third base is fine. The only one is just don't play Javi Baez at shortstop. That I just please, please, please do not do that. Other than that, build however you want to with that. GPP, I'll let you pick what works out for your pitcher based on how the rest of us. You have Rushman a catcher, or Gary Sanchez if you want to save some money and get a better SP1. Aranda, I like at first base there. Or you can go Mountcastle if you want to go heavier with Baltimore. That's why I like playing like the $1.20 maxes. Like I mix up these lineups and then I kind of put my core players in and then I kind of like throw in some different scenarios, gets me exposure to some different pitchers. And sometimes like if the stack goes off and you have like different pieces of it, then you have enough exposure to maybe get close to taking down a GPP. So that's personally how I like to kind of build those lines. A low at second base is Westberg. If Lau's out for some reason, you can, I think, slide Westberg up to second base and pick another third baseman. Um, Shortstop, again, this is a hard one. I don't think you want to put Gunner in there. It's just a lot of salary and it's lefty on lefty, and sometimes he hits further on down in the order. Walls, again, hasn't been great, but he fits in with Tampa Bay stack, or maybe you just take one off there, like find the cheapest shortstop possible, and if he falls into a home run or something, then you have like super leverage because nobody played the 2K guy at shortstop. Um, that happened with like a mod last year, I think, like Arizona. Like I had this great pitching and stacks, and everybody's great, and shortstop was did not work for either team in my stack, so I just threw him on in there, and he had like a 3-run homer out of nowhere. You know, he had like three all season, I think, and it was like a lot of money that night. That was great. O'Neill, and then pick your favorite Tampa Bay outfielder there, and then take two of them there, or fill in like Laureano is 2K. I hope he plays in the Baltimore lineup. That just makes everything work so well and helps you get like a better SP1 there, or maybe pay up for like get like Mookie Betts in your lineup or something like that. So that's what I got for you. If you have any questions, put them in chat below. Hit me at Megaro31 on Twitter/X. If you want more information on FSi DFS, go to the description of the video. And there will get you to our website to sign up for all our packages. Cover a lot of sports, and it's for as low as $6 a day. It gives you access to everything for 24 hours. So it's a really, really good value there. So again, I don't know how many more videos I'll get out this week. I will try. Still have the family situation going on, still have working retail during Easter holiday, and still am a part-time pastor. So I'll have to get ready for services on Sunday also. So, but if I do have the time, I will get up early. I will study the slates and I'll try to get you videos out as much as I can. If not, hopefully next week we return to a normal like 3 to maybe 4 videos a week schedule. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Come back, give me a chance again. And if these videos help us back, like, subscribe to our channel, and share with your friends. So thanks for watching. Hope you have an amazing Tuesday. Good luck in your contest. I'll see you next time.